Should you ever use an impact driver on a bicycle? The answer is probably never, and I recommend that you don't do this, except in really rare cases. This is one of those videos where you get to join me as I work on bikes in the garage, and in this case, we're going to try an unconventional method to get a stuck crank bolt out of my crank set, because I've got to change my bottom bracket. So I've got a crank set on my cross-country bike. It's a SRAM crank set, and the torque specs on the bolt are 54 Newton meters. However, it's been many months since I've installed that crank bolt, and I did torque it to the exact torque specs. In fact, I probably did 52, because sometimes I'll go just a tad lower. And in this case, I can't get it out, and I cranked my torque wrench up to 60 Newton meters and it broke. You know, like it let me know that I was at 60 Newton meters and the bolt did not budge. So it is stuck. It is beyond my upper body strength to get this thing out. And so we're going to try this. But like I said, we're going to do this very carefully. So this is a pneumatic impact driver, and I'm going to lower the PSI down to probably like 30 because, again, I want to do this carefully. Now, this is one of those cases where I prefer Shimano on a component. So there are some SRAM technologies where I like more than Shimano, but this is one of those cases where you've got this one bolt that is a really high torque spec, and there are cases where it's just hard to get off. Now, I'll show the crank set. I'll also show a Shimano crank set, which has the style that I prefer for getting crank arms off. So let's take a look. So this is the crank set, and I'm not sure if you can see it in the video, but you'll see a torque spec on that cap that says 54 Newton meters. That's an 8mm Allen wrench, and it's just one bolt, so it's a pretty simple design, but again, because of the high torque spec, sometimes it can be problematic. In comparison, this is a Shimano crank set that uses a 6mm Allen bolt on each side of the left crank arm, and all you have to do is loosen these. These are 15 Newton meters. You loosen those and you undo this cap, and then you can get the crank arm off, so you're not dealing with that one single crank bolt that has a really high torque spec. This is what I prefer. It's very easy to get these off of a bicycle. All right, this is my air compressor. I'm going to let some air out so that I go down to 30 psi on it. So we're just over 30 psi. The other thing that's a little frustrating with this bolt is as you try to take it off the bike, as you spin it, the cranks are going to spin, so you have to hold the other one with your hand. And what I do is I actually prop the pedal on something to keep the cranks from going down, and that's what I'm going to do here. And I don't really mean to be harping on SRAM, but I get pretty real in my videos, and when there's a technology that I think could be better, I don't mind saying. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to position the pedal so it rests on this wood. And you can use any kind of, wood block or something like that, just as long as the pedal rests on something to keep it from spinning backwards. All right, so now the moment of truth. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to first of all take my 8mm, just kind of push it down, make sure the pedal's resting firmly on that wood. And then I'm going to try the impact driver. Of course, I've got to make sure I have it in reverse. It is. Let's just see if this bolt will loosen. All I really want to do is loosen it. Once it starts to move, then I can just use a wrench to finish it off. Not moving. We might have to increase the PSI. Okay, we're going to have to increase the PSI. Well, you know what, let's just see if that perhaps loosened it a little bit. And if I can get it with the wrench. Nope. Absolutely not budging. Okay, I went up to 70 psi now. Again, I've got the pedal resting on the wood so the cranks cannot turn backwards. Make sure the Allen wrench is firmly in there. Wow. That thing is tight. Gosh, that's crazy. All right, well, we're gonna have to go up a little bit higher. Okay, this tool is rated for 90 psi, and that's what we're at. We're actually like 95. So let's make sure the pedal is firm on the wood, and then let's try our impact driver. Got it. Oh, it actually took it all the way off. Okay, well, that did it. So there we go. Got the crank arm off. Thank God. So there we go, using an impact driver on a bicycle. This is the first time that I've ever done this. The only reason I have this is to change the blades on my lawnmower to get them off. Now, if you do ever end up using one of these, and by the way, you can get these in battery-powered versions like a battery-powered drill or the pneumatic version like I have here. But if you ever get into the situation where you're stuck like I was, never use this to put the bolt back on the bike. Only use it in those rare circumstances to try to get it off. Now, like I said, it's an extreme measure because I was like over 60 Newton meters and the bolt was not budging. And I was concerned about straining my back or straining something in my arm or shoulder, trying to get that bolt out to get the crank arm off. So, you know, like I said, it's unconventional, but in this case, it worked out really well for me. Now, I'm curious to hear from some of you all out there. Have you ever had to use an impact driver, whether it be pneumatic or battery powered, on a bicycle? And if you have, what component did you have to use it on and how did it work out for you? Like I said, I've never done this before. This is one of those videos that I thought I'd just throw out there as I worked in my garage. So maybe it helps some of you out there. Again, disclaimer, I'm not ever condoning this. It's very unconventional, but it worked out for me today. That's it for this short video. I'll catch you in the next one. Thanks for watching.